Come in here.
All right, so we're live on YouTube, and I don't know, my camera didn't connect today, so we have this camera. Let me fix the lights. A little bit better in that corner. Yeah, I guess so. All right, so let's get live on YouTube. On Facebook, maybe. Okay. I should probably have this closer to ready before I get going, shouldn't I? Let's see. There we go. We're live on Facebook. All right. All right. So it's just a couple minutes early. I'll get going in just a moment here. And those of you who know me know it is all about this stick. Coffee is good, but come on, are you over there? My daddy? Thank you. All right, so I will have peace and quiet today. Won't that be fun? All right, who's with me here? Hey, Marissa, how are you? Good morning. Good morning, Sandy. I know I've got a couple coming up on YouTube. I'm not sure who's there, but good morning, and let's talk some yoga. Is it time? Is it time? Yeah, it's time. All right. So today, I don't know how many of you guys watched the SpaceX go up with SpaceX, right? Blue Origin, I think. Anyway, William Shatner was on board and Captain Kirk. I'm not much of a Trekkie. I don't have a big opinion on. Oh God, what's his name? The Captain Kirk guy. Anyway, sorry about that. But he came down and he was talking to Jeff Bezos, and he was so emotional. It was really kind of cool to watch. William Shatner, that guy. But he talked about the perspective that it gave him, and hopefully we don't all have to go up into outer space to change our perspective, because it's probably not going to happen for most of us, right? And that's okay, because you can change your perspective lots of other ways. So I love to travel. If you travel, that will change how you look at the world for sure. But also in our yoga practice, right? And we are literally going to change our perspective today. So that means we're going to be upside down a lot, right? We walk around like this all the time. What does the world look like? This way. So that's going to be our goal, and not necessarily the world, obviously, right? But our environment, right? How we see things, literally how we see things, and how we see ourselves. Right? Don't look at yourself in the mirror upside down. Things were really weird, right? But so that's the idea, and just be playful with yourself. If you have access to a wall in your home, and then as much as you'll need is roughly waist high, right, or hip high, however you see this, right? And you don't need a lot. You can have just a little smush, right? So if you have, something on the wall, you might have a little bit of space next to it to be able to get what we're going to do at the end of class. So some of you guys probably know what I'm talking about. If you don't hang out with me, I promise it is worth every second. Good morning, Cheryl. All right, you guys. So let's go ahead and get going. And we are actually going to start laying down on the mat. So make yourself comfortable there. If you want to prop up, you are always welcome to prop up. But just take a moment, get aligned. And that perspective change starts right here, right? We don't normally start laying on the floor, but we're gonna. And once your body is comfortable, whatever that might look like, just let yourself relax back into the mat. So as if this were Shavasana, but it feels really different because we haven't moved our bodies yet, right? So just take a moment, be as comfortable as you can be. Bring your mind inward. And so we lay in bed for however many hours a night. Hopefully you get your 8 hours of sleep, but I know that's not reality for everyone. But allow yourself to just be present and aware in this physical place. And normally when we're sleeping, we try to not be aware, right? We try to let go and fall asleep. But see if you can just be present with the effect of gravity on your body. And check out what your breath is doing. And we're going to take our hands here and just rest them across the upper belly. So right up underneath your ribs there, just letting maybe your fingertips touch, let your elbows release toward the floor so we're not working to hold the arms here. And as you expand into your breath, really draw that air down into the upper belly, the lower lobes of the lungs, and let your hands kind of rise and fall with your breath. And keeping that idea, take one hand to your upper chest. And see if you can, as you breathe, those nice big breaths, feel your hand on your belly rise. Maybe then the left hand or the hand on your chest rises and falls. Maybe not quite in sync, right? Maybe a little one before the other or after the other, however your perspective is. And just see if you can feel this little rhythm and pattern. Take the hand that was on your belly and place it just fingertips across your throat. And see even here if you can feel the pattern of your breath. We're going to keep the breath flowing nice and full. Keep your mind on the subtleties of the breath and let your hands just fall back to your sides. If your feet are not flat to the floor already, go ahead and take them there. Keep this inwardly focus that you have, this hyper awareness of the breath pattern, not just your breath itself, but how it's flowing. And we're just gently going to roll to the side. Go ahead and keep your eyes closed. Very slowly, use your arms to press yourself up into a seated position, and you can absolutely still have your eyes closed here. So come to a comfortable seat. Make sure that your pelvis is upright, activating your belly. Sitting extra tall here. We're going to let the arms reflect the breath. So extend the arms out to the sides with an inhale, stretch them up. Exhaling as you come back down again. Again, like that. One more time. Coming back to the top, inhale. Exhaling just the left hand back to the mat. Give yourself a little tip to that side. Taking a big full breath here, opening up the right side ribs. Inhale as you come on back to center. And then take it over to the right. Nice big breath. Back up to the top. One more time like that on each side. So take it left. Then back to center. Over to the right, last one here. Lifting back up to the middle. And then releasing. Keeping that nice tall spine, let's take the right hand to the left knee and the left hand behind the back. Gentle little twist. And even here, you can have your eyes closed if you like. And notice how just closing your eyes can change where your focus is. Changing the perspective. Let's release that back to the center. Same idea, nice and gentle little twist over to your second side. Let's come back to the middle and take this one a little bit deeper. So right hand back to the left knee, left hand pressing into the floor, sitting extra tall, and then pulling against the knee so the belly rotates around, side ribs, shoulder, looking over your shoulder. See as far behind you as you can. Stretch your eyeballs. And then unwind, taking your second side. Same idea, using the arms to pull around a little bit deeper. And then releasing back to the middle again. Bringing the hands to the knees. On an inhale, pull your shoulder blades together on your mat and lift your chest toward the ceiling. And then round, exhaling. Think forehead to belly button. So in and out like that with the breath. Inhaling as you lift. Exhaling to round. Taking a few flows like that. One more time. Coming back to the middle and sitting tall again. So here, bring the soles of the feet together. Hanging onto the ankles, draw the heels in toward the groin. And if this is enough stretch, this is enough, right? Try and keep the four corners of the feet together and allow your knees to release toward the floor. You can help them with the elbows pressing the inner hip down, not the knee itself. It won't stay if you just press the knee. But when the hips open, that will bring some more release. If you want, hinge forward, think belly button to heels. Finding the stretch. Keeping the spine long. Instead of thinking chin to belly button, think chin to the floor in front of your toes. We're going to take another nice big breath. And then gently hinge back up and extend the legs out. So just again, kind of checking in, make sure that you're upright on your pelvis, your belly's in, the legs are active. So really flex your feet here, sitting tall. Let's go ahead and lift the arms. And we're going to hinge forward, coming into our first fold. Of course, let your hands fall where they fall. And then allow your upper body to kind of follow your breath. So as you inhale, fill up into the belly, maybe lifting up out of your fold a little bit. And then as you exhale, see if you can sort of sink in a little bit deeper. So just this gentle up and down. And it can be a bigger movement or really, really subtle. Just kind of see where your body is this morning. Take another big breath like that, and then hold in this little bit of a deeper place. On an inhale, bring yourself back up to the top again, and then release the arms. So we're going to take the feet out into a straddle. So if you want to turn sideways on your mat, you're welcome, but you don't have to. Don't worry about how wide the straddle is. Feel a nice little sensation in the inner hip, and that's the deal. So we do still want to be, however, upright on the pelvis. And if you need to adjust your seat, definitely adjust your seat. Sit extra tall here, belly's in. We're going to reach the arms up again here. Rotate the upper body toward the right leg, and then fold over the leg. Check in that you didn't roll up off the left sit bone. Keep it glued to the floor. And again here, extend out the crown of your head, thinking chin beyond your toes. You can move a little bit deeper into this by using the right hand. Press into the floor and see if you can get your belly button to rotate more toward the thigh. Feel a little bit of a twisting action there. As well as a side stretch. You're breathing. With an inhale, we're going to come back up to the top again. Rotate around to the left leg and do the same thing, letting your hands just fall. Lengthening out the crown of your head, sinking into the fold wherever it is here. Using the hands to steer the belly around a little bit if that's helpful for you. Inhaling, coming back up to the top. Let's release the arms. And then let's take the right hand and pin it up underneath the left thigh here. Pelvis is glued, spine is tall. Lifting the left arm up, we're going to hinge over toward the right toes, but forget toes. See if you can bring this elbow more to the inner thigh. If you can hit the floor, hit the floor. And then use the elbow, press against it, against the thigh, turning the belly button toward the ceiling, drawing this left shoulder back, reaching alongside the ear maybe. Take another big breath. And then we're coming back up to the top. Switching sides here, pinning the left hand, reaching the right arm up and over. Elbow to the inner thigh, using the elbow to open up, rotating the body around. And of course, your gaze can be up toward the ceiling. You can have your eyes closed here if you'd like. Let's go ahead and inhale on the way back up again. Releasing the hands, let's bring them to center. Upright on the pelvis, tall through the spine, legs are still active, right? We're gonna hinge forward. So wherever forward is, the hands can do anything you want them to, but round the back, right? So if you're reaching forward, you may be letting your shoulders climb up by your ears and rounding your upper back at minimum, right? Maybe even your lower back at that point. So the idea here is to think belly button to the floor, chin reaching away. And the hands can maybe reach toward your toes even. And they certainly can come forward. You just want to avoid rounding. So one more breath. We'll hinge back up and bring the legs back together. So let yourself bounce a little bit, wiggle. And then we're going to come around onto hands and knees. So remember, you can cushion your knees if you need a little cushion. Everybody with me, still doing all right? All right. So hands under shoulders, knees under hips. And then instead of being in this tabletop, bring yourself into kneeling plank. So hands forward or knees down. So the shoulders and hips can shift forward, coming into alignment. So glue the index knuckle into the floor. Check in that your shoulders are neutral on your back and your belly button's in. Go ahead and lift the knees away from the mat. Extend through the heels, make your legs active. Let's lift the hips, coming to down dog. And just allow yourself to shift and wiggle. And we're starting to see things from this different perspective here, right? You're upside down. If you'd like to, close your eyes. What does that feel like? How does that change your down dog? Maybe try looking down your nose toward your toes. And see if you can look down your nose so much that your big toes come together. If that's not making sense, don't worry about it. Settling in here. And then keeping everything else as you have it, let's lift the right leg, taking it straight back, extending through the heel, make your leg longer. Belly's pulled in, we're gonna open the hip, taking the toes high, bend at the knee, pointing it toward the ceiling. So work to keep your shoulders level, but see if you can look over your left shoulder and see your toes over there. Release that side. And then switch, lifting the left leg, starting with the hips square, extending, getting longer. And then allowing the left hip to open, bending at the knee. Again, you're kind of peeking over your right shoulder, see if you can see your toes. And then release that side. Let's go ahead and drop on down to the knees, take a little bit of a child's pose here. And then coming forward again, either into your kneeling or a full plank. You decide, always. Extending through the crown of the head, belly's in. Slow and controlled, bend your elbows back. And eventually everything comes to the floor. Hands are next to the side ribs here. We're just gonna roll into the shoulders. So with the inhale, roll them up by your ears together on your back and down toward your hip bones. Little curl of the chest away from the floor. Connected to your breath, rolling up on an inhale. Exhaling back down. Taking a few flows. One more like that. And then release. Pulling the belly in tight to the spine, pressing into your hands with your belly and chest together, coming back to your kneeling or full plank, and then sitting all the way back into a child's pose again. Let's lift into down dog. This time walking the feet forward into our standing fold. Bringing the feet up underneath the hip bones and then just kind of walking in place a little bit here. Coming to a center, you can have the knees a little bent if you'd like, otherwise straight is fine. Interlacing the fingers behind the lower back. Let's draw the shoulder blades together on the back. Reaching through the knuckles, maybe lifting the hands up off the lower back. Keeping a gentle little bend in both your knees and your elbows. And then releasing the hands. Taking the hands up to the thighs, press away, come in parallel to the floor. Lean on the legs if you need. Belly's in, shoulders are back. Go ahead and bend into your knees and sit into chair. So hanging on, or not, maybe with the hands. Sinking into the hips, continue to lift your chest. On an inhale, stretch to the ceiling. Releasing the arms. So let's take a nice big step back with the right foot. We're going to straddle, and we're going to turn the toes to the corners of the mat. So you may have to adjust where your feet are as you go, but just kind of play and see what's happening. So when we bend our knees, we want to be able to see the toes outside of the knees, right? Keeping the knee and ankle in alignment. Go ahead and take your legs straight once you have that. As we move, you might go a little deeper, so you might have to change your feet. Keep that in mind. Extending the arms. And then with the breath here, on an exhale, bend your knees, tip from the hips, and brush your mat. Inhale, come back up, reach for the ceiling. Bring the hands together, come down in a squat. Inhale and lift. Brush the mat. Inhale back up. And then squat. So just like that, in and out. When you brush the mat, let your bum stick out behind you. But then when you squat, keep the top of the butt tucked under. Maybe close your eyes. If you do end up going a little deeper into your legs, make sure you're checking in with your feet. We're going to take one more flow. When you're in the squat, hold it. So now's a good time, check in with your toes. See if you can sink a little deeper into your hips without letting your chest fall. Keeping it open. Take one more big breath. And then stretching to the ceiling. Let's release the arms. So go ahead and turn your toes forward again. So the feet are parallel to each other. Taking the hands to the hips, you can rest them on the thighs if you need a little extra support there. Belly's in. We're going to come forward into our half fold. And then keep the hands on the hips, if you can, and allow yourself to move into whatever your full fold is. And then here, just looking for a nice stretch. Keep the shoulders away from the ears. Notice maybe how we're getting a little bit more upside down. Yeah. Let the hands come to the mat without the shoulders sagging. And if you need to bend your knees to do it, bend your knees. We're taking the index and middle fingers, we're going to wrap them around the big toes. Elbows bend out to the sides. Pulling against the toes, imagine drawing your belly button between your legs. And then release the toes. One more time here, taking the fingers to interlace behind the lower back. Shoulders pull toward each other, knuckles reach away. Let's release the hands to the floor. And then turn your toes out to the corners again. Probably roughly the same area you had them before, but again, you can always change exactly where they are. With the breath here, on an exhale, go ahead and bend into the right knee, let the hips kind of sink over there. And then coming back to center and exhaling over to the left. So as you bend the knee, watch that it does not come in front of your toes and that you're pointing in the same direction. Right? If the knee is kind of inside, turn your toes in a little bit. And of course, you can make it more challenging by going deeper into the legs. Maybe as you have the one leg straight, you flex those toes up toward the ceiling. You can lean on your hands as much or as little as you need. Let's go once more on each side. And then coming back to the middle, turn the toes forward again, and bring the hands back up to the hips. With your inhale, come halfway up. Support on the thighs if you need. Try and keep your hips in line with your ankles, not leaning back or bending or rounding. And then hinge all the way up. We'll release the hands. Keep your right toes pulled in a little bit. Turn your left toes toward the top of your mat. And then we're bending into the knee. Finding the knee ankle alignment here, of course. Let's extend the arms for warrior two. Let's take the left leg straight. We're gonna reach forward over those toes and hinge and triangle. Lean if you have to lean, otherwise the arm just dangles from the shoulder. Maybe look up at your lifted hand. We're gonna release that, come over to lunge. You can drop the back knee, you can bring your feet a little closer together. You decide here. We're taking the left leg straight. So nice and deep into that hamstring. Again, if you need the back knee down, you take it down. Squaring the hips, lengthening the spine here. Let's add a little twist. So if you're feeling less than stable, again, maybe drop the back knee or hop your foot in, your right foot in. Bring the left hand to the hip. I'm going to rotate around. Release the twist. Go ahead and bend back into the knee. And let's step back to a down dog. On an inhale here, shift into a plank. And exhale down to your belly. Hands next to the side ribs as you roll into the shoulders. Hold this one. Elbows in, chest extending. Pull with the hands like you're pulling your belly button to the top of your mat. Press into the hands. Feel your triceps. Keep your shoulders away from your ears. And then release. Up and back into your down dog. And then here, the left foot steps forward again. We'll walk the hands back around into our straddle. And let yourself hang. Bringing the hands up to the hips or supporting on the thighs. With an inhale, come halfway up. And then all the way up. Inhaling. And we're gonna switch sides. So the left toes are cut in a little bit, the right toes are gonna turn toward the back of the mat, bending into the knee, checking for your alignment, making sure your feet feel like they're in a proper position, extending the arms. Moving into triangle, right leg straight, reaching forward and hinging over. Lean if you have to, but only if you have to. Keeping the head back, belly engaged. And then we're gonna bend into the knee, come around into lunge. And again here, you decide what happens to the back foot. When you're ready, take the right leg straight and fold over the leg. Grounding down into the right foot, press that hip back, extend out the crown of your head here and bring the right hand to the hip and rotate around. Keeping the lower body stable, so adjust as you need. And then release that side. Bend back into your knees, step back to your down dog. On an inhale, slide forward, different perspective. Inhaling, come to plank. Exhale to the belly. Roll into your cobra. And then release it. Make your way back to down dog. And we'll step the right foot forward. Walk the hands around into the center of your straddle. And allow yourself again here to just hang. So maybe a little bend in the knees, grab your opposite elbow. Hopefully your hamstrings are pretty happy about all of this. So here, taking the hands to the floor. So if you need a little bend in your knees, have a little bend in your knees. Make sure your belly is working. And we're going to walk the hands forward, letting the hips come down, lower than you would for plank. So let them sag toward the floor. And then come on back up again. Back to your fold. We'll do that again. Forward. Let the hips descend. And back. Once more. And then we're going to move kind of in the opposite direction. Right? So be sure to keep the body weight even on your feet. You don't want to lean into your heels here for sure. Take your hands and walk them behind you as far as you can. So think belly button between the legs again here. Pull against the floor, bend your elbows, and see if you can pull yourself a little bit deeper. And then release that. From here, we'll walk the hands around to the left foot, lunging back to the top of the mat, and stepping back to your down dog. Let's drop on down to the knees and take a little child's pose. Take a moment. How's your body feeling? You're warmer. Let's go ahead and lift back to down dog. And we're gonna walk the feet forward, coming into standing fold. From here, let's go ahead and take the feet a little wider than normal. And that may be wide enough, it might be too wide. We just kind of play and see where you need to be. So the knees can be as bent or as straight as you like. We're going to see about bringing the right hand inside of the foot and maybe back behind the heel. And then wiggle around here. Notice where your shoulder and knee are in relationship to each other, and see if you can get your shoulder more behind your knee. And you wiggle again, more straight, a little bit more bent. And then release that side and switch. Taking the left hand in the middle, maybe behind the heel a little bit, noticing where your shoulder and knee are in relationship to each other, and see if you can get it a little bit more toward behind of your knee. And then release that side. So hang out for a second, let yourself be in the middle, maybe wiggle some. And again here, you may want to adjust exactly where your feet are as we go through the next little pieces. So we're gonna take both hands to the inside. And you, I'm sure, can see where we're going with this. We want to bury, as much as possible, our shoulders behind our knees. So they're probably not gonna be as deep as they were when you just had one, and that's fine. And again here, if you need to change where your feet are, change where your feet are. Once you have that, see about taking your hands flat to the floor behind your feet. So here, my heel is in the web of my thumb and forefinger. Right? Ideally, the palms come flat to the floor. You can start to bend into your knees and drop your hips. So at some point, the backs of your thighs kind of rest on your triceps-ish. Keep that idea. Maybe walk your feet together. And if they're together, pull your belly in like crazy and see if you can lift them up off the floor. So if your butt is close to the floor, fall back. If not, come to a seated position. And then just stretch your legs. Balance and wiggle. Extending them out nice and long, making sure that you feel upright on your pelvis. Belly's in. We're going to reach the arms up and fold forward. So let this forward fold be a little bit like rest, right? Relax into it. You can sag a little bit here. Let your head release toward your shins. Just feeling the difference in that stretch. So, inhaling on your way up, we're going to make our way around into a down dog. So, if you don't have a wall, just take down dog. If you have a wall, slide the short edge of your mat back to the wall. And then you're going to take down dog with your feet at the baseboard. So either plain old down dog or up against the wall here. Checking in with your hands, make sure you feel nice and engaged. Make sure your belly's pulled in and helping with the job, right? If you are comfortable here, you can absolutely stay here. But maybe we're going to bring one foot to the wall, roughly hip height. And then, I'm trusting this not to slide. So 1 foot to the wall, hip height, maybe 2.
So if this is enough work, this is enough work, and you don't have to add anything. But if you want to play here, take one leg straight up toward the ceiling. There's half of a handstand, right? Release that side, maybe switch. And then release it all, making your way back down. Go ahead and take a child's pose. So feeling various places in that opposite perspective, right? So whether you're at the wall or not, slide forward out onto your belly. And then we're going to roll over onto the back. Super simple, right? And just like we did at the very beginning, just allow the body to feel aligned and relaxed into the mat. For a moment, we're not quite done, but we're getting there. And notice the difference between when we started and now. Okay. So if you are at the wall, we're taking bridge. So either way, right? If you're just laying on the floor, you're going to take your feet flat to the floor. If you want to use the wall in bridge, you're going to slide your bottom down to the baseboard like we're doing legs up the wall, which we will do, I promise, but not just yet. So we're working in bridge. So either your feet are flat, pretty close to your hips, arms nice and tight down the sides, and you can simply here lift your bottom up off the floor, right? How that works at the wall is that your bottom is down at the baseboard and your feet are on the wall. Okay. The action is the exact same. You decide how intense you want this sensation, but everything is the same. Pressing down into the triceps, pull your heels toward your hips to lift your hips up off the floor. The head and neck stay comfortable regardless of where you are. And of course, if you want to get fancier, you can interlace your fingers. Whether you're at the wall or not, you can lift a leg. And you want to switch, of course, right? Taking just a couple more breaths in whatever variation you got going on. And then gently release, setting your hips back down on the floor. Keep your feet flat for just a couple breaths. And then draw the knees into the chest and let yourself rock a little bit. So if you're at the wall, your twist is going to be a little bit closer to the chest, right? So maybe your knees stay in. If your feet are on the floor and you want to shift your hips and adjust in your twist, you're totally welcome to do that. We're opening the arms out into a T position, and the legs are going to fall over to the right. So just like any time, making the adjustments that your body needs, taking the variations. We're gonna come back up to the middle. Taking the second side, whatever that ends up looking like. Ideally, we work similar, right? So whatever variation you took on one side, you should do on the other. But it's not gonna be exactly the same necessarily. So just see what's going on. And then coming back up to center again. Bringing the knees into the chest and rocking a little bit. Finding alignment here. If you are at the wall, stretching out isn't gonna work for you. But if you're laying away from the wall, go ahead and squeeze your knees in, round up into a little ball. And then stretch out, full body stretch. Releasing your stretch, you're gonna take yourself to Shavasana. So if you are at the wall, you are in the perfect place for legs up the wall. If you don't have a wall, but you have a chair, you can definitely come up to the chair and rest the backs of your calves on it. You can always take a seated meditation. Find where it is for you. And you're at home, so you can wiggle all over the place, right? Finding that spot, whatever it might look like. And then allowing yourself to release. Body did a lot of work for you. Let it rest. Releasing control of your breath even. Letting the benefits of your practice just kind of soak right in. Slowly draw in a deep cleansing breath and then let it all go. If you haven't already, allow the feet to come flat to the wall or the floor. Gently roll yourself off to the side, pausing there. Keep your eyes closed. Maintaining that new perspective. Gently bringing yourself back up to a seated position. Sitting well here. Bringing the palms to touch. Bowing your head to your heart. Namaste. Good. So sometimes turning it upside down is all that you need, right? Practice that whenever you want, and you are at home, and if you put a little bit of dirty footprint on your wall, so what? They're yours. Right? Thanks, you guys. Thanks for playing. I hope you enjoyed that. Check out the website. Oh, I almost forgot. So because it's our 3-year anniversary or birthday or whatever you want to call it, Any Day Yoga there, I'm giving away the Applying the 8 Limbs of Yoga workshop. So if you purchase a yearly membership, you will get that for free. And normally that's an $80 course. So take the opportunity if you are not already a member. If you are already a member, thank you guys so much for helping me continue to do this. I love you guys. Have a great weekend, and we'll see you next time. Thanks, guys. Taking me a second, sorry.